Hi, welcome to Tennis Volley Talk, episode 9 by Brian Danielson. Hey, today, what I'm going to be doing, I have an in-house guest, one of my friends that I've been playing tennis for many years with, and his name is Bruce, but I call him Shredder because he shreds his forehand past everybody, and they just don't know what to do about it. But he's going to kind of talk and let you know about how he kind of got started within tennis. I'll show you something from his high school days and how he grew up through tennis, what got him into tennis, who got him into tennis, and through living in a small town in Minnesota, Anoka, and what he started and when he got started with playing tennis. And welcome to the podcast today, Bruce. And you can kind of take it over and explain how you kind of what got you into tennis and how you started playing the game and your life within tennis and why you think it and how it's been so good for you through the years.
Okay, my name is Bruce the Shredder Swanson, and I come from Anoka, Minnesota. And back in the day, I graduated from high school in 1981. Back in the day, it was by far the largest high school in the state of Minnesota. So basically, I don't know, I just got interested in tennis because of all the good tennis of the era back in the 70s, Connors, Borg and McEnroe. We watched that constantly as kids. That's where that's where the interest was born. And so I was always good with running and speed and agility, athleticism. So I took the game of tennis up. And that was way back in 1974, 5, and I was in junior high school. So I lived in a neighborhood where there was 3 tennis courts, outdoor courts, right within quarter mile of me. So the closest one and the one that born the seed of tennis greatness is was over at Charlie Weaver's court in Anoka. And Charlie Weaver ultimately became a legislature for the state of Minnesota and plus the Department of Public Safety director. And he was an outstanding standout at Anoka High School in tennis. He was about 5 years ahead of me. And me and my buddy, we were going out for tennis in the junior high, Fred Moore, which is the precursor for the big Anoka High School. This is back in the 70s, back in 1975, 74. Me and my buddy, Anthony Gerster, who lived right next to the Weavers down there off the Mississippi River in Anoka, beautiful area. And Weavers had a court, like I was saying, and that's where Charlie got so good, was to play. He could play all he wanted on their own court. Well, we had to ask permission from Weavers to play on that court. And me and my buddy, Anthony Gerster, ended up being number 1 and number 2 singles for junior high school. The Fred Moore Hornets tennis team, which was coached by Garth Lappin, a good friend of Randy Running, who I'll mention here later on. And so that's where our competitiveness was born, on just a small court in someone's yard. And we got up into high school, and or not high school, but junior high school. And we had the format of first singles, second singles, third singles. And we would challenge weekly. Our coach, Garth Lappin, would challenge us weekly to take, we would move between 1 and 2 signals and three singles, throughout the year. But basically, I was either number 1 singles in 1976 or number 2 singles in and that was shared with me and Anthony, my nemesis. He was right next to the Weavers court. I had to walk 3 blocks to get to Weavers, but we played several summers, all summer long, every time we could play over at Weaver's court. And it got to be very competitive, and we got very good too at a young age. So going back to tennis in 1975 or 76, the junior high, we happened to roll into what would be called the district finals. Junior high school district finals tournament was held at Coon Rapids High School courts back in 1976. And I need to show this here. I happened to do very well as a 7th grader in this tournament. That would be, if you look closely, it's one of my most prized trophies ever. It's my first trophy. That's Coon Rapids district tournament. I was runner-up singles. There we are. Let's get some weight to it. That's my best trophy. I like this more than any trophy I have, and I got quite a few of them. So we'll go back to that was junior high. So we go back up to, I mean, we had Ken Peterson, the coach of the Tornadoes, come down to George Green Parks, the tennis courts, and watch us middle schoolers playing during the week. He would come down from Anoka High School and watch us. And he said, hey, Bruce, nice to see you. Ken Peterson, Anoka High School coach here. We're really looking forward to seeing you up there at the high school here, coming up here on the tennis team. Because I was playing first singles, and I was actually had my buddy's number. So it was looking good for me. And my buddy was very jealous. We go up there to 10th grade tennis. Ken Peterson was the tennis coach in 10th grade. Well, this is unfortunately proven because my buddies overheard this conversation that my tennis rival that was playing second singles, and I was up at first singles in 10th grade, he did mention something to Coach Peterson that Bruce smokes cigarettes. And regardless of whether I did or not is beside the point. What happened is I ended up being on B squad. I couldn't break A squad, and it was just incredibly. It was cheap. And I had a friend of mine who told me this. He was standing right next to Anthony Gerster when he told Coach Peterson that I smoked cigarettes. And immediately, I didn't understand why I was like losing ground in the Anoka tennis program. But I kept playing doubles. Next thing you know, I'm down on B squad, which I dominated. But anyways, I mean, I think I lettered in tennis, but yet I never bought a jacket because I never had any pride for the program. So that was high school, and that affected my decision of what I was going to do for education after high school. I did not even go. I was so frustrated with high school and the way how it was managed by coaching that I, instead of going to any college and playing college tennis, I went into the U.S. Army. Big mistake.
Thank you for your service.
Big mistake.
Oh no.
Oh, I went in as infantry. Big mistake over in Germany. Big mistake. Oh my gosh! I come back here and I go back to work after a couple of years stint in the U.S. Army in Europe. So I come back here and I start working, and I ended up getting into real good shape by taking some martial arts classes. Was very beneficial for flexibility and stamina endurance, and it helped in your tennis game. It was just a good match. So then I picked up a racket again here back in the 80s and 90s, and I played off and on, but I didn't know of any tennis leagues around. So one day here it was past the year 2000, and I hadn't been in any organized tennis for years, but yet I've been playing a little bit here and there and everywhere. All of a sudden I found on a web search, I found something called Tennis Tour. Tennis Tour is where I met a guy named Bert Frost. I won't go into him or any much about the Tennis Tour, but that's where I picked up the racket at age about, I'd say I was in my 40s. And I thought I was all done with tennis. I thought, how can an old fellow like in their 40s play any meaningful tennis? It's not the case. I picked the racket up again, and the equipment, those days
just felt natural to you.
Right? Oh, it was so nice. I want to point out. I wanted to point out with what I played with when I came back after age 40. For example, here's what is called a Wilson Burn. I mean, this is what.
That's what the players play with more nowadays.
Yep, this is more of a modern racket. It's the first generation of the Wilson Burn. I mean, it's the heaviest version. It's got the handle, and the throat is as stiff as you can get on a racket. You can't find much stiffer. So you got to know how to string it very soft in the string bed with soft string. But this is, for example, what I play with nowadays, and it allows for a lot of power generation on the forehand side and backhand side. But as people know, to keep it away from my forehand. But anyways,
racket of the day will come later, and that'll be more of a vintage racket that we will show you.
Yes,
and by the way, YouTubers, just be sure to subscribe to my channel and like it, and then also for racket of the day. And if you podcasters also want to see what we were talking about in the racket that he just was telling you about, you can definitely go to my tennis channel on YouTube, Tennis Volley Talk. So that's for your podcasters out there. You YouTubers also, just remember, look me up and subscribe and like and let me know what you're thinking. And so
I'm not done yet. I'm not done.
I know that you're not done. So this is kind of, I just wanted to get that in there. So back to you, Bruce, and let you talk more.
Okay, I'm up to age about 45 in my life here. I'm 60 right now. So I mean, then I started playing a tennis tour, which is where I met some of these players, and I started playing again in about year 2008, where I really dug out the racket and got back into it, which I would have been about 45 years old. That's where we started playing. And Scott Johnson would organize a local league here. It wasn't called the tennis tour anymore. And in the meantime, too, I would play in the summer tennis tournament, everybody's favorite up at Elk River, where I happened to. These are just a couple trophies that, I mean, they're no big deal. This is from Mixers, actually, inside tennis, inside during the winter. That's a trophy there. And then this is just my last one, proving that anyone can play. I got this when I was 59 years old. And this was, I went to the final at the Elk River 2022 Elk River
Summer
tournament A, the A's. And I played in the final there, and I let that one slip away, which I should have never done.
Yeah.
I had it in the bag, and I was worried about where I was going to put which shelf I was going to put the trophy on before I had.
That's when it happened.
I was worried about where I was going to put the trophy, which shelf, before I had won it.
Yeah.
And I was up like 7-3 in a 10-point tiebreaker for the title. I ended up losing 10-8.
Yeah.
7-3. Think of that colossal collapse. That's bigger than Connors in the U.S. Open against Arthur Ashe in 76.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a bigger
in Wimbledon too.
Bigger collapse.
Yeah.
Brian here saw it. He watched my collapse in the final.
I did.
I had it won. And I was actually, it's called, that's how tennis is, though. It's like you can win 11 straight points in a row, and then all of a sudden you lost 7 in a row.
Yeah.
And that happened right at the very critical moment. I was not focused.
That's right.
But anyways, okay, that brings us up back to, being a good player over the years, playing with in a lot of these local tournaments and just a local tennis league. And I'll let Brian take it away from here.
Okay. Well, and anyway, with that, it's really nice, to know. And then, with Bruce and being able to talk about him being able to play through all one summer on the private tennis court, I kind of grew up in the high school tennis court back in the day, and I was the young kid, and I met all the old guys at the tennis court that got me playing. But it was the same way of that you played like morning, noon, and night for like all one summer. And that's where you started learning and knowing your game and getting that game that you ended up getting. And then coming back after all the years, I just never quit. I just kept playing through the years myself. But Bruce came back and he started playing. And the more he played, the more he liked it. And the more he started hitting good and better, and has made it in to a lot of the tournaments that way too. Being with his upbringing with tennis like he's had over the years. With that kind of the same growing up, but in different places. He was here in Minnesota. I was in Oklahoma at the time, playing that. But then also with that and meeting and being in the tennis tournament with Randy Ronning, which now runs the Elk River tournament each summer. They have a summer one, then they have a fall one, July and then September. And with that, I met Randy way back. I've probably known Randy for about 25 years. I met him through the Blaine Tennis League, and then that's how I kind of met him, and he annihilated me back then. And he's really a good tennis player. He's 70 now, I believe, or so, and he plays really good still. But that's kind of how I met him through that. And then now recently he's part owner in a Rogers Tennis Club in Rogers, Minnesota. And then he runs the mixers, and meaning a mixer during the winter. which then he kind of has a group of people all day, starting out at the lower level all the way up to the big boy hitting uh, for the big boys.
College level.
College level that you're going, wow, these guys are good.
5-0 players.
5-0, absolutely. 5-0. And then, and we had privy to be able to play in that 1 year, or one part of it, which was good. Kind of got your game a little bit more elevated. But then sometimes those guys, you just hit it as hard as you want to, and they're kind of standing there going, can you hit it harder, please? And they put it right past you anyway, something like that. So it's always a learning experience. Bruce and I started playing, and the more we played, the more. At first it was, I had the upper hand with him, and then he won a few times, and then last couple of years he's been my nemesis, and it's been kind of a frustrating road for me trying to take on him. But we do have our matches, and we've done good. With our matches that we do. One day we were outside, and it was 100 degrees out and 90% humidity, and we were the only two on the tennis court playing tennis in that heat. For our age, none of the youngsters would do it, but we would, because we're for the love of tennis. I'll tell you that.
I kept my weight down.
Yeah, no, definitely so. And with that. Also, as I said, for you YouTubers, be sure to subscribe to my channel and like it. And for you podcasters out there, right now what we're going to do is I'm going to have Bruce bring up the racket that he used back in the 70s, which is a vintage racket now too. But if you podcasters, you want to take a look at what we're talking about, and the racket that he will bring out and show you is just go to my YouTube channel, Tennis Volley Talk, and then subscribe to my tennis channel, Tennis Volley Talk. And so anyway, Bruce is going to bring out the racket that he used back in 74, 75.
And let me grab it here. And this here racket here is famous, and Brian will go into detail about it. And it certainly sprouted the seeds of greatness within me.
And that is an Arthur Ashe Comp racket.
Boron Flex. It's made of like a fiberglass. It's very heavy.
Yeah, very heavy, very stiff racket too. But this is the one that Arthur Ashe used when he actually won the U.S. Open. And that was back in the early 70s, 74, 5, 6, 7, somewhere in that area. He was playing with this racket here and annihilated Connors in Wimbledon one year with this particular type of racket that he played with. Just an excellent player, Arthur Ashe was. Unfortunately, he had an early passing of things that happened to him, but he's a very accommodating player, first African-American to actually go through anti-apartheid and all of that, and then being able to be accepted by a generation of people being tennis players and being an African-American in tennis at that time.
Way before the Williams sisters.
Yeah, way before the Williams sisters.
Yeah, he opened up, it's like Tiger Woods of golf, he's the Tiger Woods of tennis.
Yeah.
Arthur Ashe.
Arthur Ashe. And he was such a fluid player, and what a one-handed backhand he had. Oh, I strive to have something like that at times, or his serve. But this is a very old, like I said, it's 70, 73. I think it came out in 73, 74, in that area.
When I first started playing tennis against Brian, I was using this racket.
And he was.
I wouldn't give it up either. Brian was trying to tell me about the newer rackets, and I had just come out of retirement of tennis. It's like, you couldn't get me away from this racket. I was playing this against these guys in the year 2006 or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, you gotta be kidding me. I pull this out for my match. They said, you playing with that? And I said, yeah. And I ended up winning with this too.
And they couldn't believe it. The guys couldn't believe it.
I actually wore this racket. I used so much that I wore the handle completely gone. There's nothing to put a new grip on here. It's almost ready for a dumpster or trash because of the reason that I didn't have it reinforced very quickly. And I kept playing, and I just wore it out, the handle itself. And you can see I'm not very good at trying to fix a handle. I need to go bring this to Rogers Tennis Club and Randy Ronning to put a new rehandle this baby up.
Oh yeah.
He would do it good and do it right. And there's no, it's actually got some grommet wear too because of I only had it strung once. In 40 years of owning this, I had it strung once.
Yeah.
I kept playing with what the cat gut. It had gut in it originally. It was strung with gut, and it just lasted that long. I never broke a string with this medium powered racket, medium to low power racket. And it's a control racket, as you can see by the design of the head. It's not power. You can see by the design of the strings and how it's strung. It's more for control. But you can't hit it for power. You can generate a lot of power with the weight of this racket. You can generate power by how hard you swing,
or unless you find the center of the racket when you hit the ball, and that's kind of hard to do in a point with this kind of racket too. But on occasion too, Bruce and I ended up taking LT2000 out. And me and him had a vintage match, which was really kind of fun to do. And I was hitting with the T2000, he was hitting with this, and it was pretty good. It was fun to do something like that.
My first racket right here, it just born the seeds of tennis within me.
Yeah, and which really is the best thing, to have something like this, to be able to have that, to have that happen to you, to actually catch wind with you, to play and stuff like that. So like I said, you podcasters, if you want to take a look at what we're talking about and showing, go to my YouTube channel, Tennis Volley Talk, and subscribe and like and let me know what you want to hear. And then also with that, YouTubers, go to my subscribe and like and let me know some of that aspect as well with doing that. So yeah, with that, it's just kind of letting you know this is how Bruce kind of grew up, growing up in the game, and what he started with, and some of his experiences, my experiences with me growing up, which has been, I've always had the passion for tennis, even though as frustrating as it can be at times. But I do what I can in trying to play what I need to do to play. And so with that in mind, I'll just say, everybody have a good tennis week out there, and be sure to subscribe to my channel and like it. And also, like I said, with the podcasters, if you want to take a look at what we're talking about, you can take a look on my YouTube channel, Tennis Volley Talk, and subscribe and like. So everybody have a good tennis week out there, and hopefully you're going to be getting outside wherever you're at, or if you're already outside, that's good. So you get the outside elements in playing tennis. So with that, everybody have a great week, and subscribe to my channel, and have a good day.
That was probably the best of your podcast you've ever done.
Oh yeah, probably.
Probably one of the best podcasts you've ever done.
Yeah.
And it's just a simple interview. I didn't try to go overboard on this and that and this and that. We just went. I already knew what I was going to talk about before you got into it.
Oh yeah.
Just from when it began, tennis, and how it ended, right down to the end.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And talking about 60 years old or whatever. It got a little bit of everything in a short amount of time.
It was.
How long was it? 20 minutes.